It's a stuffing waffle,
Okay.
hence making waffles. Our house roasted turkey,
Oh my God.
gravy, mashed potatoes, and a cranberry or apple cider cranberry reduction.
He did that pretty neat.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That was a pretty good bite.
What's the layout of this? Are we just going to chat? Are we going to jump right in with the taste testing flight
Yeah,
here? What's
well,
going on?
I figured we had someone bring alcohol, which I'm gonna fully appreciate
And encourage.
right? For all those listening and joining us in the future. So I figured I'd let him kind of figure out what we're gonna pour and figure out what we're going to go from there. You need alcohol to continue the conversation.
Chris,
Yeah.
you want to take us on
All
a
right,
tour
so
here?
Chris Destito and Nick Angelicola with us. And Chris, what should we start with? What's the pecking order here? Did you know that certain people were going to be here? That's why you picked what you did.
I did know that Nick was going to be here, and he does not like bourbon. So he's going to start with the Knob Creek Maple. It's a bourbon, but they made.
It's a cheater bourbon.
It's a cheater bourbon, but
For
it's
man
really
and man.
good. It's not like a Jack Fire where they kind of just made it taste like cinnamon. Like you can tell it's a bourbon, but
Okay.
you can also taste the maple.
With a little
It's a
flavor
good
to
intro.
it.
It's
Right.
got a very strong maple flavor to it.
I'm almost need a little bit of a taste just to see what that tastes like.
I mean,
think.
it's a good starter.
All right. Let's crack it open then, and we'll get that out of your way. So Nick, is it just because you haven't found the right one? What's the
I
bad
don't
nights?
know. No, I don't know.
tough hangovers?
I never dabbled with bourbon really, so I tried it for maybe the first time at Crust a couple weeks ago. It wasn't
It
as
did
bad
not go well.
as I was expecting, but
What do you mean not? It didn't go well. Do you mean like he ran to the
took-
bathroom?
Like
or?
he took a sip, put it down. Yeah, that's not good.
That's not good. See, I'm with you. I mean, everything's a bit of an acquired taste.
It
Wine
is,
is,
yeah.
no one loves wine the first time they sip
Sure.
it and other things. So, yeah, this for me, I haven't gotten there yet either. So I'm with you.
we'll
This
see
is-
though.
All right. Why don't you-
We're going neat too.
He's speaking
Should
highly.
we Cuber too?
Yeah, Cuber too.
Oh,
All right. So, do you carry this at Crust?
We do.
Okay. We should probably elaborate that he owns Crust. Everybody, he's the one that makes the Negotiator. If you don't know Negotiator, you should check it out.
you haven't lived yet.
You haven't lived yet. Get in there. I mean, it smells delicious. I feel like I should have some pancakes. Might be the morning bourbon.
So are you saying it's too mapley for you?
I don't know. I
Thank you, Chris.
this would fall into like the almost like flavored liqueurs for me, or like like they all go like lemon, like all those kind of like lines, vanilla, like just
Right.
like it just like it's almost bourbon is almost like it doesn't really, it has flavors, but not like a distinct like to be fair, I don't know. I couldn't like pick apart every note of a whiskey,
Neither could I.
right? But when you smell this, then you smell like some of the
It's like breakfast.
yeah, it just
It really is.
What kind of breakfast do you guys eat?
Yeah.
This does not smell like
We
breakfast to
drink
me.
our
Unless
breakfast?
you're a raging
Yeah,
alcoholic.
breakfast after a long night.
I'm sorry, maple syrup. What are you putting on your waffle?
Not booze.
Well,
No, I know
You
you're
bitch.
saying. Like, I do smell hints of maple.
You're gonna taste a lot more than him.
It's pretty heavy.
I almost I just want to see. I mean,
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
I could drink this.
Yeah, I mean, I could get through this. No worries.
it's like
Would I run to the bar and demand one
That's
of
what I
these?
was gonna
Because I
say.
need a thirst quenching,
have to go to.
Honey
whatever the
bourbon.
hell this is. I don't know if I can get there.
But see, unlike
Maybe
a
when I
lot
grow
of
up, I
flavored
can.
things, this is still 90 proof. So
90,
I mean,
yeah.
it's still packing
Yeah,
a punch.
that is packing a punch.
You could get
It's great to
pretty
go back
drunk
to
on
work
this.
after it. Yeah.
I was expecting like a
He went pretty drunk. He went get to work after. You guys went separate ways there.
I was always hoping
Could
for
be
like a story or something. you know, when you look on the bottles just to figure out, oh, this was Grandpappy's first brew, you know, first distill back in the 1800s. But no, I don't know the Knob Creek story. So, though I know the Thirsty Owl story now.
You do, and it is not as remarkable as you want it to be, but it's
I mean,
something.
it's pretty remarkable. There was just an owl there.
Yeah,
Avid listener.
knows
there's
the
just an owl there. There's no huge punchline at the end besides my dad is
It was
just
a
seeing
4.5
things.
foot owl. I think that's great.
So would you say this is definitely bourbon on training wheels? I mean, is this...
No, 100%.
Okay, so this isn't even really count.
I mean, the fact that it's still 90 proof and it's still
That's its redeeming quality.
it's actual bourbon. It's not like Fireball that was like
Right, and Jack
Antifreeze.
Fire is so fireball-y, yeah.
Don't plan to get any Fireball sponsorships.
Yeah.
anytime soon.
sorry.
Oh, great. Morgan, cancel that appointment.
The next two bottles have the stories you're looking for.
All right, good. We'll get there. Well, since we started with the whiskey, Chris, can you give us a brief intro to Crust? How it kind of came about? What was the mindset? Was it drinking bourbon at home? Like I can't
Not
do
at
this
home.
family thing. Okay. Oh, okay. So it might start like that.
It
Let's hear
actually
it.
it does. So
Okay.
Crust is I was running the Savoy, which is my family's restaurant, now closed. I had been doing it for 2 or 3 years. And the beaches had just closed. And Frank Belmont, my business partner, he was running the beaches at the time. He came over to help out at the Savoy. And the problem with the Savoy that I had was it was very hard to come in and make changes that I felt needed to be changed. The staff had been there for 20 plus years. I think the shortest tenured person was like 10. And we had people in and out.
Longevity, the blessing and the curse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were very set in their ways on how things were done. And I mean, most of these servers, front of house people, they've lived through like 3-4 general managers. So to them, the mentality was, oh, you're just the next one will be here after you leave. So growing up there with a lot of them, it was really hard for me to like make the changes I wanted to make. And as a 116-year-old restaurant at the time, tradition was everything. I mean, it was. So anyway, Frank came in. We were running the restaurant. At night after we were closing up, we'd kind of open a bottle of bourbon, sit in the office, and kind of vent to each other about how we wanted things, how the perfect restaurant would be. It was kind of like our vent session. And after time, we kind of had something, and I realized it. I went to, I got put in touch with one of the developers at Air City Lofts. Actually, Nick's dad set that up. And we met, talked it out, came up with a business plan, found funding, and the rest was history. So Crust is really just, it started just venting, drinking bourbon in the office.
That's all. And what year was that? What from the time that you had the first sip and concept to opening?
So, I mean, we started building Crust in 2021, or Crust opened in 2021. It was like a 2-year process. So probably like a year of venting to
So
each other.
just before COVID, probably.
Before
Yeah,
COVID.
yeah.
During COVID, we had signed a lease, we had signed funding, and it was like you kind of just had to close your eyes and plug your ears and just keep going
Just go,
because
yeah.
every restaurant was closing.
You know the feeling, yeah.
It was like every restaurant's closing. We're spending a lot of money to open a restaurant, and it's either we were past the point of no return.
Yeah, Brad and I did a couple of deals during COVID that are we crazy to close on this thing, or are we brave? But I'm like, oh, if the world goes up in flames, no one's going to care anyway. So what the hell? And it ended up being great.
Yeah, and that was in rental, which is why we weren't sure how COVID travel and everything, and literally just signing the closing when the pandemic
looking
started.
back at those interest rates that we got, I don't know if we'll ever see them again, at least for a long time now. So that worked out well. But so that's interesting to me, because that was kind of one of my first thoughts, I guess, or questions for you would be, you have the Savoy, you have a building that's long paid off, I'm sure. But instead, was it the location, or you wanted to go smaller, or you wanted to go a different crowd, or you just want to go in a new direction?
Kind of all three.
Okay, yeah.
It was, I mean, I think most restaurants now are going to be a lot smaller, unless you're Francis and you're just going to keep opening massive restaurants and they're going to be great. But I think most
something there too.
I think most
For the
people,
most part,
most restaurants opening up now are going to be small. You could fit more, you can do more volume. There's less overhead. It's just takeout is like our 50% of our business right now, and it crushes it.
I am curious about on the takeout percentage. I feel pre-COVID, maybe, teens percent.
Then people stuck with it, right?
And then it just
COVID changed the way restaurants operate, hands down. I mean, it gave people an opportunity to understand, I can just grab food and go, rather than go wait and get the full dining experience. And a lot of people like it, and it's great. We built that into our business plan in our restaurant. We have a takeout section, so you just order, run in, run out. We'll run it out to your car if you want. We'll deliver.
And delivery, is that through DoorDash, or is that through your?
So DoorDash, if you
I know the AIS agreement with that. I don't know if we want to publicly bring that to light, but
generally, if you're on the business park or reasonably close and it's a sizable order, we'll deliver it for free. Business park, definitely. We run stuff to the hospital. We'll run stuff up to Bartell.
I mean, almost like catering, like
like 10 orders around there.
So if you get a big order, it needs to be delivered, and you're jammed. Do you ever call up Nick and say, I know you're doing nothing over there at ROI right now. You're right down the street. Can you run this for me? Now. Have you ever given that Mayday call?
I mean, I haven't, but
I think you should.
That's a pretty good idea.
I probably do it once a week.
Most of the time when I drive by,
friend for if you can't use them, right, Brad?
When I drive by ROI, there's like his truck and his dad's truck. Like this past week or last week, the parking lot has been filled. I'm like, what are you guys doing over there?
What's going on?
You guys are pretty close too. He can call you.
Oh yeah. No, you're much closer though. I mean, it's there to here.
I know this is coming from Wes, who's across on the other side of town now. But I mean, MVHS build is over, so he's got to have another. He's got a couple minutes now.
A little bit of free time.
What does go on over there, ROI?
Yeah, Nick. Let's hear.
Let's get Chris off the hot seat for a
Yeah,
second.
let's give him a breath here. What's going on over at? Rob. Can you help me out with the name?
It's Robert's Office Interiors. Office Interiors.
People love pointing that out.
Do you have an ATM machine there too, so we get another redundancy?
Yeah, so
it's one of my favorites.
That's a good one.
My parents started the business as Robert's Office Interiors. We slowly expanded. We went to Syracuse, and oddly enough, there's a Robert's Office Interiors out in Syracuse.
I mean, who would have thought?
Right?
It must be the name.
So
It's like Tony's Pizza.
Exactly. Yeah. So we
the Roberts of furniture.
Switched our name and we do business as ROI Office Interiors now, which everyone always says return on investment, right? We get Rome Office Interiors a lot too. Actually.
Logical. But location based. It pigeonholes you sometimes. So when your dad started it?
Yep, my father and my mother. Yeah,
and actually still. You changed the share percentage because it's ownership, right? How did it start, and then how did that whole ownership pass through? And
be careful, the IRS is listening. So don't botch this. Women-owned business.
Yeah,
that's where I'm going.
It was always 50%, and my sister came on board after college and started taking on some responsibilities and got some shares, which changed it to I don't know what that percentage is, but over 50%, and my father's percent came down a little bit. So,
and when did it first? So your dad's first generation started in Rome now, or did it start in Syracuse?
No, it started in Rome, an apartment out on Court Street, And it's funny because we still have a lot of people that, employees that were there when it started. And, they were delivering out of a minivan was their delivery vehicle. And I talked
Very
to
small
some
furniture.
Yeah. Imagine how many trips. And I talked to some of the installers now, and it's like, it would take us like a week to put together these 3 stations. And, we're doing that with like 2 guys in like 2 hours now. So things have come a long way. I'm one of the only people that at like 10 years old knew I was going to be in office furniture. So
You look sexy.
something about it.
This is awesome.
job.
So did that come out? Was that like an after college move, or what year were you guys founded?
1995.
Oh, so it's okay.
Yeah,
so
so I grew up in it.
Yeah, not that
all my life. Yeah,
oh, gotcha. And because I have no idea the story of how your father did he buy out somebody? Did he just say, you know what, furniture's needed all the time?
Yeah, he was working out in Utica doing used office furniture, and he was selling it. And we don't have anyone in this market that sells new kind of high end or middle to high end furniture. So a lot of the furniture that was in that category came out from Syracuse. So he saw the opportunity. They opened it up in Rome, and then in 2000 we relocated here to the business park, and yeah, it's kind of grown since then. We operate kind of out of most of New York, so we do a lot in Syracuse, Ithaca, Binghamton, Albany, and then we go towards Rochester. We don't go too far past that, but.
And you have also you've kind of consolidated over the last year or so, but where are the now offices?
So offices, we're the only showroom now. So we originally had showrooms in Ithaca, Albany, and Syracuse. During COVID, we kind of, it's a belief that I had for a while that the showrooms are a little bit of wasted space, because when people are looking for new furniture, a lot of times we're doing mock-ups and things like that for them to see. It's not really a walk-in business.
Physical, it's very digital.
So they weren't getting visited very much. We're going to see new spaces to give recommendations on site. So it wouldn't utilize too much. And we kind of shifted from that brick and mortar into trying to be a little bit more forward thinking with how can we make our web presence, our presentations, our renderings more beneficial than this expensive brick and mortar. So we did that about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now. And it's been good. It's been really good. Customers seem to really like it, and we have great customers very close by in all of our markets that are really happy to let us walk through with any potential new customers that want to see the furniture in action. So,
oh, nice.
How many employees?
We're right around 22 employees.
Yeah, that's big.
Did you do did they all do the MVHS build? Because you landed the MVHS contract for furniture. I mean, that's a pretty big project. That had to happen pretty quickly. Do you outsource it all in that, or was that all done internally?
So most of it is done internally. All of the design work, project management, all of those things. We do have a third-party installation partner that'll bring in additional resources to supplement our crew when we need it. But it was a great project. It's beautiful, and it went really smoothly, and we were able to maintain our day-to-day business like we normally do.
Oh, awesome.
So it really worked out better than I think we could have hoped for.
That's awesome. Yeah. How you doing over there with the Knob Creek?
I like it. I might be a bourbon guy now.
It's tasting better, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
The training wheel
better
bourbon
as we
guy.
go.
That happens, I think, in general. Unless you know what you're having. I mean, like if I have like my usual like Basil Hayden or Bullet, I kind of know what I'm having. But when you try something new, I feel like it takes a sip or 2, 3 to kind of like, oh, okay, this is the direction we're heading.
Yeah, I mean,
I
could pour this into my cereal. Yeah.
Speaking of getting used to
My
it,
pancakes.
what did you pour me on the way out to our lunch or dinner or cocktails at Nostro?
We were desperate.
What?
All I could rummage up in the house, it was vodka and not Fresca, but like some orange soda thing.
Oh yeah, the first sip you're like,
you weren't really ready
wow.
for that. I should have warned you.
But then by the time we got to by the time we were ready to go, it was like, okay,
After a couple of them,
it did
right?
the job.
Yeah, it was a bleak outlook in the office bar there. Looking around like, I got all this stuff here, but I got nothing really to make a drink.
It's all right. It's all right. Yeah, all family owners, which is what I kind of liked. You kind of liked it. And I was actually I'll swing it back over to Chris. the dynamic, was it when you made the transition? It's always tough. I mean, it was like me trying to leave the 333 building, grew up there, you know, it's just part of the thing, but change has to happen.
Yeah.
But you respect the legacy at the same time. I mean,
Absolutely.
obviously major hearing Barry talk about, you know, going to the Savoy and even my grandparent, it was a full blown lunch, right? You had, it was, the meetings happened. And if you were in a meeting,
5-hour bangers.
Yeah. I mean,
minimum 4, like those lunches with the Senates, it was 4 hours minimum. And
would you have like a shift change? I mean, because you kind of cut after lunch and they go to dinner. Unless someone's pulling a double, what happens?
So
that's actually good.
They were kind of the special table. The server stayed just to finish.
You
table.
knew they were coming in.
We knew they were coming in. The server,
they took care of the server. I'm sure.
Taking care of them. They stayed. They were. I think they still do the lunches. They are definitely the holdout of the martini lunch.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
It is something to see. It is very entertaining to go sit down with them, which I did many times. But
I wish that was still a bigger thing. I know it still happens. I mean, but I'm from hearing Dad and George, my grandfather, and you know, going to the Stanwix Fort Schuyler Club.
Stanwix Men's Club. No, that's where you play pull tabs.
That's for the pull tabs. That was the other night. That was a rough night. I'm trying to think of the Rome one. Over
it was the Rome Club, right?
It was just a Rome Club because we had the chairs in our lobby at 333.
So I used to get a lot of mail and deliveries at Rome Country Club for the Rome Club.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was always you're not really that close either.
That's a big scene.
You get to go right out of the parking lot and keep going. Yeah.
No, I love just bar conversations when I go to conferences, and just because there's so much that happens when you step out of
it's
the
a lot
office
easier
space.
to talk to people not when you've had a drink, but when you're in a non-formal setting.
Yeah, a little more laid back.
Yeah.
Like if you're taste testing bourbon here.
Yeah.
On a nice Monday.
Speaking of that.
Maple bourbon.
Yeah, is it time for round 2 here? Mm-hmm. Everyone's just burying it. Wow.
Now I'm trying to keep
up. That was aggressive. Intimidating even.
I will say quite the collection for the size bar you have.
Yeah, that's just irresponsible bourbon buying.
Okay.
And how do you get up there? Do you have a ladder? I mean, I see how the height is unbelievable there.
We do have a ladder.
Unless Manute Bowles on a different shift I don't know about. Yeah, bartending.
Actually, my liquor rep is tall enough that he can reach the top shelf.
Fun fact.
So when he's there, it's great because he just pulls it down.
Could you dust this for me while you're here? And I don't have any orders, but...
We do have a ladder. It's a very easy to use ladder, so it kind of just pulls out real quick.
OSHA compliant.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here.
So normally Frank and I are the ones that go up to the top shelf.
Gotcha. But I am pretty impressed by for a size that's usually, you go to a bar that size, you got your usuals and maybe a medium, but you've committed.
Oh yeah.
And how do you?
We went all in.
Maybe this is secrets, but I feel like some of those are tough to get.
It's not a secret.
Okay.
You're.
You have to. I'm not part of the liquor industry, so I have no idea how this works.
You have to irresponsibly buy bourbon.
Okay.
From your liquor reps. Like
commit size it's got to be like this is the size you have to like overbuy to get
pretty much. Okay. Yeah. You have to buy like as much as you can. Gotcha. And then you start getting the good stuff.
Gotcha.
Because there's a lot of bad
but
stuff.
I guess there's a payout. Once you land it, because then you're charging. I mean,
no, I am not. Other people will. I have a markup that I have and that I stick to.
Okay.
And no matter what it is, Blanton's, Weller 12, I got Pappy Van Winkle. I got 3 different ones last year. I stick to that markup. I don't factor in how hard it is for you to get it. The secondary market has blown up. It's like made bourbon so hard to get. And I just feel it does me no good sitting on a shelf so I can say I have it. I'd rather people drink it and enjoy it.
I think that's a great sell. I mean, whether that's the great food or just the fact that you might want to try some good bourbons for a reasonable price, because it is true. Because if you go, I think if I went to Turning Stone, there was a Pappy 23 that was like $60. But then you go to a same bar in Syracuse, and it was like $110 for the same pour, and it was wild.
Like,
thank you, Turning Stone, for being responsible on that.
Pappy Van Winkle, it's a good bourbon for the price that I could buy it for.
Okay.
But anytime you're spending like $1,500, $2,000 on a bottle, there's no way it's worth it. Like,
Gotcha.
You show me a bottle that you spent that much on, I'll show you one for $50 that is just almost as good. And it's only $50.
I can go way too deep in reference into art and pricing, but I don't know if I want to go there right now. I'm not to that stage of my bourbon level.
Maybe you'll get there after this
I'll
one.
get there.
Should we go to round
let's
two?
go to round two. What do we got next?
Because I can't wait to hear Brad talk about art.
So
Thank you.
let's go with
why I'm
Blanton's
here.
next.
All right,
So where's this on the training wheel scale?
Yeah, we're off.
I feel bad that
Training
you're
wheels are
opening these like brand new bottles.
Training wheels are off.
Oh, this is getting serious now.
Yeah.
Oh, we're in a little trouble here, Birdsy.
See what happens.
Need your glass.
Oh, yep. It is.
Oh, I thought Wes was tapping already.
No. I got to at least look good.
Put some apple juice in
Morgan,
here.
if you want a nip, we can.
Morgan,
no,
you want one?
Want a nipper?
what do you usually? What's
Thank
your
you,
call
sir.
on the small one? Oh, Wesley,
What? Who?
Harriet.
Oh, a Harriet. Yeah, that's when you don't need one more. When you're drinking with your buddies and you finish, but they have a half one left, and then you can't get on the same rhythm, and you never know when to like make a move. So a Harriet's just a little half drink at the end, so we can get back on pace.
And where am I missing? What's Harriet? Am I missing a old school reference, or is it just a cupism?
This is a cupism.
Okay.
This is actually someone named Harriet who used to do that all the time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She was a heck of a drinker in Ovid, New York, in the winery area.
Oh,
It's a Harriet. Yeah.
I like that. Oh, what are we getting into here?
So it's got a little maple to it still.
He's looking at me when he says it.
We're gonna do a zoom in on Nick on every time.
You went right in. You didn't want to talk about it.
Not as good as the maple. You know, I like a little syrup, but that's good still.
Yeah, it's not gonna bite you.
No.
You know.
So for like bourbon authenticity on the 1 to 10 scale, the maple one was like a 2.5 or a 3.
Yeah.
Not in how much you like it, just like this is bourbon. So this is more like a 7. We're getting into like legit bourbon here.
But
This
at the
is a
same
single
time,
barrel.
This is single. But the thing is to remember, like even though we're making fun of the maple, this is 93 proof, and the other one was 90. You know, so it's not like you're still. It's not like you're.
I was expecting worse.
Oh,
I'm a little afraid for the third one. But
Yeah.
this
No,
one's,
the third
this
one's my
not
favorite
bad.
of the three.
It's like one of those hot wing challenges, you know? You're just fearing the next one.
So you have to take into account too that we didn't change glasses.
that's
So
true.
there's a little maple.
I almost. I didn't want to go that far.
No.
But I almost went that far in getting other glasses. But I think I also said Wellington. I meant Weller. Did I say Wellington before?
Let's review the tape.
We'll make errors. We'll go back. But no, so yeah, 90 proof, 93 proof. So it's not like you're going from like a 4.5% or beer to a 9. You know, this is same playing field. But so why did you pick the 3? I understand the maple. What's this? Why are we going with the Blantons?
So Blanton's is probably one of the ones that people walk in to Crust the most, and they're like, "Oh, you have Blanton's? How much is it?" And I tell them it's $15 for a 2-ounce pour, and they look at me like I'm stupid and that I could charge so much more for it. I'm like,
You weren't kidding.
no.
For a 2-ounce Ripper. Yeah. That's,
I mean that's
like nothing.
that's like
We shouldn't tell them that, though, you know? Oh, that's a ripoff, Chris. You got to lower that price. No, for 2 ounces, yeah. I mean, if you're going to have a nice drink of it, 2 ounces.
So the whole 2
That's a
ounce
well
thing
at RCC.
was
It's going up next year, all right?
we bought rocks glasses and we did like a 1-ounce pour in it, and it just looked pathetic. I'm like, we can't have a 1-ounce pour.
Yeah, people want a real drink if they're going to order a drink. So you might as well.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to pay for it. They just.
So everything
something.
is 2 ounces.
Yeah.
If you order Bacardi and whatever, 2 ounces. Tito's and soda, 2 ounces.
Oh, wow. Also, even the regular traditional mixed drinks are
Everything
too.
is 2 ounces.
Wow.
what about the Lazy Brad?
That is more than 2 ounces.
Yeah.
It's 2.5 ounces.
2.5.
It is 2.5.
Extra half.
And I just found out. I got really excited. It's actually in the point of sale system as a lazy bread. I didn't know. I felt like.
Are you claiming it's named after you?
It is named after me.
What is the lazy
The
bread?
lazy part.
Yeah, the lazy bread.
What is in that thing?
During COVID, when I was drinking way too much, it was just annoying always making. Because I'm a big old fashioned fan, and I would make a proper one. You know, get a orange. Actually, we actually have an orange, peel it. You know, bitters, cube, the whole deal. And then I don't know if I ran out of bitters or something, and I was just trying to figure out because I didn't want to drink straight bourbon either. I just like a little something. And I grabbed actually I have a bottle of Grand Marnier, and I just kind of played with the proportions. So I would do Basil Hayden, 2 ounces of Basil Hayden with it was around what you came up with the ratio, 2 ounces of Basil Hayden with a half ounce of Grand Marnier, and it was very drinkable. And obviously not a true old fashioned, but
It's old fashioned-esque.
It's old fashioned, yeah.
Old fashioned influence, inspired.
Yeah.
Inspired by it.
And you just pour those two when you're off and ready to go, and I just came up with the lazy Brad, and I was telling, I don't know, was at the bar there maybe or something about him, and he's like, I gotta try it, and liked it, and the lazy Brad was formed,
and now it's a thing.
Wow. Now it's a thing.
Wow, it's in the point of sale.
It's in
Brad's got a drink. I've been waiting for a sandwich. Still nothing. I want a sandwich named after me.
I gotta say,
what would that be called?
I know.
I know.
Like most sandwiches that we name after people, they either are like inspired by, or they come to us and say, hey, you should make this sandwich, and it actually sounds really good. We get pitched a lot of sandwiches.
Oh, I'm sure.
Well, now I'm going to start researching.
Is that a thing? Yeah.
Yeah, we
Nick's
get pitched
gonna have
a
his
lot.
own lab next door.
Testing it out.
We get pitched a lot of sandwiches, and people are like, well, why don't you do this? And I'm like, because one, I'd have to charge like $30 for that sandwich, and two, it would take so long to make it that it just doesn't like.
And you want like dead end ingredients and stuff too.
Yeah.
It's just the one-offs. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I get a lot of suggestions
we do a lot of one-off dedicated ingredient sandwiches, but those are usually the ones that I come up with. And they, by the time I get done making it, I never want to make it again.
I get a lot of suggestions at the golf course. You should cut this tree down. You should cut that tree down. I'm like, or you can hit it straighter. That's fine too. But people are never short on suggestions, right?
Yeah. Never.
Chris, this is going to be, I can't miss. This sandwich is going to be great. You get that once a week or what?
Yeah, and very few actually are. One that comes to mind that was good was the One Night Stand. That was from Matt Mastrangelo. He was like, you should make this sandwich. And we were like...
Just because of the name?
So...
Yeah, can we...
So Matt's...
I just saw him there, actually. I was at lunch.
So Matt's...
I didn't know that.
Nickname that everyone calls him is Strange.
Yeah.
There's no way to spell Strange without people calling it Strange.
Right. Yeah.
And then... Yeah, we all get the reference. So we named it the One Night Stand.
I did not know that. All right.
Now, who created the negotiator?
Frank. I did say that we should put Calabrian chili peppers on it, though. That was my...
That's my
Your
favorite.
contribution?
I love that.
That was my contribution.
And
I named it.
For the stats, that is your obviously number one selling sandwich. And it
By far.
doubles, it almost doubles
More than doubles.
all your other orders.
So the last time I checked, which was a couple weeks ago, it was at 20,000. Just over 20,000. The next closest was Frank's Slow Roast at 8,000.
Wow.
Quite the spread.
That is.
Yeah.
No one's really in second place.
No.
And-
Everyone's just playing for second place at this point.
Well, Nick, there's an open door there for another just. What's the favorite? What's your go-to?
I'll start working on it.
I mean,
There.
yeah, I mean,
big 4 a.m. in Buffalo.
Yeah, that 4 a.m. Buffalo introduction was huge because I went to Niagara, so I used to get it out there. So that was huge. But negotiator, if not that,
okay. All right.
those are top two.
Top two. Any? We'll go back to Nick. I'll give you another break over here.
You can concentrate on your drink over there. Yeah.
What's I'm trying to think because I wanted to know the futures of the businesses because I feel like it's always evolving and generation evolving. You're a second, sixth, third, second, and do you see in what do you like? Do you see this your long term play? And I'll calm your dad down if it's not. But like, what is the business play for you? Is I mean, you're tied to Rome. Family's in Rome. Everybody's in Rome. That's so you're not going anywhere. What's the play for business, and what's the play for you coming up?
Yeah, so I think we're in somewhat of a unique position because our industry is a little bit older, and there's not a lot of youth coming into it. So we're at a little bit of an advantage there. But for me, I want to kind of continue to grow. The focus has been on making sure we have everything right so that when we kind of continue to grow, everything is in place, right? You know how exactly what processes to follow, what people you need in place to start. And then hopefully it's easy to duplicate. But
how many are in your space? Like, because I not strong in the furniture space. Because I obviously I go to Wayfair. This stuff's from Wayfair, right? You know, that's low end, cheap, whatever, just fill the space. But like,
I saw Nick roll his eyes when he walked in.
Yeah, I know. You know, we'll work on that. Everything else is from
the
him.
rest of the office looks good.
All right.
The rest of the office is Nick.
Brad, don't embarrass me, right, Nick?
But like, what is that? Businesses these days, like, are they going online, or is it still like, oh, we need help filling this space, and there's so many freaking things out there that it's hard to just visualize and fill?
Yeah, so there's not a huge amount of competitors, especially in Rome, Utica. You get out to Syracuse, Albany, there's a few in each of those markets. But yeah, I think that one of the big things is, you know, there is that option of Amazon-like stores, right? Ordering it and having it delivered. So I think in the future, and you know currently, but a little bit more emphasis in the future is how we help with that space planning, right? Thinking of things that people might not think of with acoustics or where things are placed, or, you know.
Okay, so not the product itself, but more like, okay, what can I actually fit here?
Some knowledge and
yeah, exactly.
Expertise.
Product as well, but expertise, right?
They saved us with acoustics. Crust was acoustically a nightmare when we first opened. High ceilings, hard surfaces, lots of windows.
You know what? A lot of new restaurants, I feel like, that have opened have struggled with that because it's kind of that old industrial look where there's no carpet, everything's wide open above. Like if you go to like One Jenny, I can't hear a freaking thing in there.
Yeah. You leave and you're like, oh.
Yeah, and maybe it's better now, but the last time I was there, but yeah, you try to go for that wide open look, but at the same time you suffer acoustically.
And you just, that's not something, I mean, especially opening your first restaurant, you do not think about like, oh, what's it going to be like in here when...
Would you do like, because bigger cities I know have this, because, you know, somebody wants to do, well, just acoustics in general. My old kitchen that had just, it echoed everywhere. And I was like, what can I go to buy? Because when you buy it stuff, you're like, I don't know what I'm getting. Mm-hmm. Am I spending too much? And I wish somebody locally, which was a little more public, and this was before I met you and knew what was going on too. It's like that's not advertised, I don't think, a lot in the smaller cities. Again, metros, they probably have 5-10 people that could do it. But I think there's a lot of people that have this like echo stuff and like acoustic problems and like want to do theaters and stuff like that could go to someone like you in the new space.
Yeah, for sure. It's getting to be a bigger deal too, because another thing with COVID is a lot more Zoom calls, right, and virtual meetings. And when people are on those, they're raising their voice. And the TV has a different sound than our voices, right? So you have multiple people on it, and you start to just hear, you know, you can't hear anything, right, because everyone's yelling. So we're starting to see that a lot more frequently, and it's pretty impressive the science that goes into it. You know, I went out to Utah and went to one of our manufacturers, and they have just a guy who studies sound. That's all he does. And, you know, he'll come in and look at a space and do a study on how things are bouncing and how to exactly what you need. And the last thing is it just looks really cool. You know, like it just, when you get some of this acoustical stuff up, it just changes the whole.
And it can fit in. You might not even know it. It might just be, you know.
It doubles like artwork, right? So it's cool.
So you're mostly in the commercial space. Would you do residential, or are you?
Yeah, we do it when it comes up. You know, we do some home offices, things like that. But yeah.
There you go.
They did Crust.
Yeah, but that's commercial.
But a lot of the stuff that you're doing, like Brad's asking, like looking forward, what do you see coming on? But I think you've enacted some of these changes, like kind of shrinking your brick and mortar was a play towards the future, right? Like that was a major move probably for you guys. Big decision. Sounds like you had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, for sure.
And kind of seeing where things are going. But we don't really need showrooms anymore. One's great. We need something probably. But after that, you know, Amazon's selling cars in 2024. I mean, things change quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to be the first movers, at least in our area. So a lot of money that we're saving on brick and mortars is all being diverted into online presence where we can make it easier for, younger generation. They don't want to talk to sales.
It's so true.
Right.
I'm kind of the same way.
It's so
I
true.
hate to
But you want to
admit
know
it.
what drives me crazy? I want to know the price.
Yeah.
And when you go to like places, like I can call him and ask him how much something costs.
Sure.
And he'll tell me.
Sure.
So I'm not referring to him. But there's a lot of like things you go online and like you
have to reach out.
have to
and
reach
get
out
quotes
and get quotes. And it's like, just give me a ballpark.
Yeah.
Give me it's not like I have a social phobia of talking to people on the phone. It's just like, what's your name? What's your address? What's this? Okay, I just did it in the last person I talked to. It's just like getting through all that. Like,
Then you always do the whole questionnaire, and then it's like, all right, give me your email, and I'll give you the price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to give you my email because then you're going to send me a bunch of stuff all the time. And
I'm glad you mentioned that because that's something I'm working on for our marketing side of and advertising side of the paper because I'm the same way. Like I'd rather just do a quick research and see what's going on. But what I'm trying to do is create like a Fiverr, very low end Fiverr where hey, here's the entry level price if you just want this. However, if you want more, I'm happy to tell you. But at least you kind of know what you're getting into. Hey, if you want some online marketing, a couple ads, and you want your website done, this is what it costs. Then if you want anything more, so at least you know like when I say
the whole thing shouldn't be mysterious.
Right, the whole thing isn't mysterious. At least you know, hey, for $500 I can do all this stuff. And then here, if you want more stuff, here's the other stuff. So at least you know like what you're getting into. Because some people are like, I want all this stuff for $200. I was like, no.
But just some suggested packages. Or
Right.
Here are three options, and there are plenty more.
I'm
but
happy
here's a
to
starting
elaborate.
point.
Right,
Yeah.
I just want that entry
Just
point.
that starting point. Because
Exactly.
people don't even know where to like ballpark it.
Yeah.
Right. We're doing something like that with our glass architectural walls because it takes a while to get a full quote on what those are going to cost. We have to come space measure everything,
Sure.
check the floor, all of these things. And a lot of times a customer just wants to know, is this feasible? Like, what's the cost compared to drywall? And you don't need to be perfect. You just have to have a ballpark of this is an idea of what we're going for.
A ballpark would be great.
And I think it would cut down on the bullshit for the company because like you could go down this line of doing a quote, arriving at a house, doing all this quote, and then you'll say it's like 10 grand, and they'll be like, I was expecting 3, and then you just wasted an hour of your employee's time, and it's like, hey, not even seeing your space is going to be at least this, at least on online booking, you can kind of like set this is my budget, just that kind of information. I think that would make more sense.
And I think there's more of a trust now, right? Because I think like older generations might feel like, well, if we give them a price and it's not perfectly accurate, that's the end of the world and they're not going to come back. And I think everyone's seeing it now like we're all on the same page. This is just a ballpark. We know it might go up or down a little bit, but
there's no signing on the dotted line there. And agreed. How you feeling? How you guys doing? I actually really enjoy this. I haven't had this much. But
Morgan, you sure you don't want to nip?
Morgan, I mean, come on. I don't have the Morgan cam because I needed an extra one for this shoot. But you sure? You'll have your coffee.
Trying to quit?
So I can't wait anymore. We gotta do another intermission here. Even though I'm not ready for refill. We have we can hold on. We can do the nightcap with the Weller. We can do the nightcap over there. You brought a sandwich.
All right, so I brought 2 sandwiches.
2.
And then an order of rice balls. I figured carbs were good in this.
These things.
So,
Love me some rice balls.
Yeah.
So I brought some rice balls. I brought one of our Naughty, which is from our partnership with
The Comets.
the Comets.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a very great selling sandwich the last few months. But then I brought our Thanksgiving sandwich, which is called It's Not Christmas Yet. And that's lowercase n, capital OTT, for the guy that we did like a Facebook poll or contest. What should we do for a Thanksgiving sandwich? And this guy, he like got as close to what we were thinking about.
Okay.
And
So a little nod to
nod
the creator.
to him.
Yeah.
Is this the same one as last year that you had? Oh,
It's our thing. It's the only Thanksgiving sandwich we have. We hate making it. It's such a pain, but it's good. We know it's good.
I love the honesty.
We've gone through so many waffle irons Like we just keep breaking waffle irons because that's how many waffles we make.
That's wild.
And we're not buying like commercial expensive
because for a 1 week
week sandwich. We're buying like the
use it and throw it away.
Special $40 special.
Yeah. So sorry. By the time this podcast comes out, you're gonna have to wait till 2024 to enjoy this. But he's okay. Quick thing on the names. Love the names. Oh, I always have a story. Is it just on the story? Is it something that just how's that? I know I get the not like the creator, Strange. I got some of the other ones though are still very good. They all have a backstory, or is it just...
they don't all have a backstory, but a lot of the creative ones do, like the 4 a.m. in Buffalo. That was based off a Stinger, which is in Buffalo a very popular sandwich that I would get at 4 a.m. after the bars closed, and we would go to Jim's Steakout, get a Stinger, and go back to our apartment or house or whatever.
Sure.
The Negotiator is from Kate Jarash from Bonaccio. She was the one that kind of gave us the push to get to where.
Yeah, she's good at that. She
get to where we were.
She knows her role.
Yeah, she does.
Yep,
she's very good at it.
Yeah.
We kind of named that after Sweet Heat because she was very sweet in the beginning, and then when it came time to like sign on the dotted line,
get your shit done.
The Negotiator came out.
I love that.
And we were, we learned a lot about building a commercial space.
Yeah. Crash course.
Yeah. So
cool.
That's that.
The Negotiator. See, I didn't know that. The origin story.
The origin story, yeah.
Well, that's why when we do the Negotiator Open at Rome Country Club, Bonaccio is that was kind of like our middle ground.
Oh, all right. I don't know. My mouth was watering.
I mean, Brad is into this. He needs some food right now.
So let's take a look. What do we got? We'll do a break here. Morgan, if you were drinking with us, you could partake, but.
Got that look. By the way, Kate's gone.
She is.
She gone.
That's crazy.
Wait, she's on another job in like Tennessee or something.
Moved to Tennessee. Yeah.
She gone.
So who's the new Kate?
That's the special.
This is for the break discussion. That's why I didn't want to.
No,
just
I know.
bring that up then. Yeah.
Nani.
Yeah.
Who is the new Kate? Do you know who the new Kate is?
I think it's a guy. I don't know his name.
Well, good thing Negotiator is gender neutral.
Yeah,
it is.
You take
true.
one bite at Thanksgiving.
I mean, it's always going to be for Kate.
Right.
It's always going to be for Kate. That's it.
Okay, so what is? Let's start with the Thanksgiving special here. What's on it? And what's the break? How do you?
So, it's a stuffing waffle.
Okay.
Hence making waffles. Our house roasted turkey.
Oh my God.
Gravy, mashed potatoes, and a cranberry or apple cider cranberry reduction.
Delicious, but not a pre-meeting meal.
That's
a lot going on.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot going on there. How many of these did you sell? How many did you sell last year?
Way too many.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I got one last
Do you
year.
charge an extra $1 for the pain in the butt of the waffle
so you
iron?
know how I said what I said with the bourbon?
Yeah.
With this sandwich, there's definitely a
premium.
A premium for the fact that it's so time consuming.
I mean,
you're gonna get a still full of this thing after to put on. And what's in there?
Oh
again?
no, that's fine. That's perfect.
It's our house roasted turkey.
Yep.
Mashed potatoes, gravy.
Oh my goodness.
And the apple cider cranberry reduction.
Has anyone ever poured that maple bourbon on top?
Right on.
They have not, but I mean,
You could.
Might be a new touch.
You could.
New sandwich.
I didn't bring any utensils.
Could we make a sandwich even more annoying for you? Yeah.
You gotta just dig in, Brad.
Brad, just
go for it.
Just a bite.
No, let's watch Brad eat. It's a new name of the podcast.
Oh my God.
Sound effects.
He did that pretty neat.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That was a pretty good bite.
Remember when Brad ate the whole thing in one bite? That was weird. Wow. is.
It's finger licking good.
I mean,
quite
if
is,
that
yeah.
doesn't, the audio and the visual of that, so
Didn't scare everyone away.
it's a little intimidating.
Well, all right. So give us your review. What's hitting your
You
your
get it
taste
all.
buds here? What's
You-
going
you-
on?
You literally get it all.
Get a little bit of all of Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's Thanksgiving. I mean, it's super flavorful. It's a lot, but half of that. Yeah,
If you're on a hot date,
not the
could
go-to.
you pull
This
that
is like-
sandwich off?
You don't
Is
do
it-
this
This is
before
like
having
ordering.
Buffalo
This is like
either.
ordering crab legs for a first date.
Like
It's just
you better be married for
yeah.
at least 15
yeah.
years.
You already don't. You
Yeah.
already don't give a shit about each other. You're just like I'm just gonna enjoy.
You're
this
just
dinner.
over it. I just wanted to go in.
No, I'm going.
All right.
But delicious. Wesley.
I mean, a waffle itself is thick, right? A Belgian
It is.
waffle. And then you get the bottom. So you got a double-decker waffle with all that turkey, and wow, that's a lot going on. Bradley, you did pretty well.
It tasted like a Thanksgiving plate. It
And now
really
it's just
did.
the morning after Thanksgiving, you know, when you got the leftovers,
Yeah.
you
This
throw it
this
on.
would be that perfect sandwich where you hit it hard Wednesday night. You know, you're gonna have half of it before you go to bed. You're gonna wake up the next morning. Morgan raising her hand. This is what she's gonna be doing.
Big night Wednesday night.
Save
Big
that for
night.
Morgan.
Then you house the second half. It's like the garbage place in Rochester.
Absolutely.
You know, if you were hammered, you could probably polish it off. But if you didn't, you had a little leftover for that morning hangover. And this is like that kind of like that. It's hearty. You got the carbs. You got some protein. I mean, I'm sold. And if
Yeah.
I knew it was
Yeah.
that good, I would have had that for lunch today, and split it with 3 others.
Yeah.
Looks great.
I feel like you're not going to touch that with your speed golf career. you
No,
know?
that's
That adds a
that's,
couple-
that's,
Oh, it's
that's another,
over.
That's another 6 miles right there.
Wesley, take a bite of that, man. If you're, I mean, what else? What was the other sandwich? Sorry.
The naughty. It's
it's
the
the
naughty.
naughty. Yeah.
It's prime rib,
Sponsored by the Comets
East-
or Victoria's
or-
Secret. We're not sure.
Utica greens, and then vine and fig sauce, which is actually shout out to Vine and Fig. They made a special, or they had a small plate that they put
Wow.
this sauce on, and
Okay,
I could
can
never
we-
figure it out.
can
And she
we-
took it off the menu, and I was like, "You took my favorite thing off the menu."
Did you
And
throw a fit?
I didn't throw a fit. I complained to her in person.
Okay, that's
threw a
was
fit.
a
I
small
mean,
admirable.
She was at Crust, so I
Okay, so you had the
threatened not
home
to
field
serve
I had
advantage.
home field advantage.
Home field advantage.
I told her, I'm like, Carly, you took my favorite thing off the menu. Like, I would get it every single time. She then explained to me why she took it off the menu.
Reasonable excuse or no?
Reasonable excuse.
All right.
But
One chef to
then-
another.
Then she backed that up with, I'll tell you how I make the sauce.
Oh.
I'm like, if you tell me how to make the sauce, I'm gonna use it.
But is
But
that
I
like, is that
will
like a
give you credit
magician?
for it.
Is that a magician telling his or her
I
secrets?
know.
Like, is
that's a
that
big-
allowed?
That's like a.
I won't tell anyone how it's made or what's in it.
Would you tell somebody else how you make your sauce? Another chef?
It depends.
Like you might owe her one,
I might owe her one.
right? So
That's fair.
That would be
If I were
legit.
her, I'd ask for a negotiator.
I would definitely owe
But
her
if Brad
one.
asked you, you'd tell him take a hike.
I don't tell people things.
There you go.
All right. Can we? This came up during lunch today, and I got to give credit to Morgan.
Woof.
I understand what you're saying about the portion, but I could go for a half negotiator in a salad or half a negotiator in a soup. You know, I really could.
Too bad. You got to buy the whole thing.
I know.
My man's back there. He's making
But
it anyway.
wait, hold on. You try working
That's
after going back to work, or eating this and going back to work.
Listen,
I mean, it's
they
delicious.
reheat well.
I know, but I can't stop eating them. You get to that like
if there's
reheat well.
food in front of me, I eat it.
you get to the half.
Yeah.
You get to the halfway point, and you're like, I could kind of use another bite or two, and then you get another bite or two, and you're like, well,
No,
I
man.
might
I've
as
gone
well
this
finish
far.
it.
I got to go into it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of their stick. You get a big, heavy sandwich
know.
with Chris, and then you got to buy a lounge chair from Nick and take your afternoon nap. Maybe this is a whole scam.
Yeah, I should have
It's a
gone with a
racket.
more lounge type for the living room, Nick, on in our property, but
When you're that
lesson
close
learned.
to Crust, you
Lesson
need a little
learned.
bit of
Lesson learned.
lounge.
Last thing you have are the rice balls. I hear you also hate. Is there anything you like making in your own restaurant?
I mean,
Great
listen,
question. That's a great question. Food and
That'd be
beverage
better.
is a tough industry.
I
Let it
think-
be
We'll get to
known.
that. We'll
to
get
be
to that
fair,
next. We'll
I
get to
think
that
if you
next.
asked any place that makes food, especially their more popular dishes, you get sick of making it. And it's nothing to do with that it's not good or that I don't actually like eating it. It's just repetitiveness.
Right.
I don't.
And going off of what Wes was kind of alluding to, did you ever think of leaving food and beverage? Because it seems brutal. And he's told me to run from it. I respect his decision, and we have for the most part.
Yeah.
So I never, once I was in, I never thought of leaving. I went to school for finance, started getting internships, and I'm like, this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. And then I came back to Rome. I then did a little 3-month stint in Italy at a culinary school and kind of just fell in love with food again and went back to the restaurant, my family's restaurant, and kind of worked my way up a little bit. Then I was kind of running it, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. Like, I love food and beverage, restaurant business. It's one of those things where you either love it or you hate it, which is what I told a bunch of high school kids at RFA. And they have not invited me back.
So it works really well.
Listen, it's either you love it or you hate it. And if you hate it, you should run from it because it's not going to change. It's the same thing.
Yeah. After 10 years, you're not going to be like, I really like
now
this
it's better.
trade. Yeah.
No, it's the same thing.
Yeah, my former life, I ran 257 Steakhouse in Utica next to Stanley, which is now Swifties. So my dad and Bob Lamb of Coalyard Charlie's back in the day were partners in that. Then Bob wanted to get out, and my dad's like, okay, Wes, you're in. So I'm 24, 25.
You get Wes figured
not
out.
a foodie.
Wes, is this before or after the internship with my mom?
Oh, this is after. That was a great internship.
Wait, what?
Yeah, with Roanne. I did one when she's in the assembly. I was in high school for
you're
government class.
poli-sci.
I did a little background.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did a little background.
I did not know this.
My
Yeah.
mom had 2 staff members in Utica, Debbie and Barb.
I was not going to come up with any names, but
And I was like, what was Wes like as an intern? And she goes, Wes was tough.
was I tough?
Not tough like bad. Like
Tough like
Not very good
you
at
gotta
your
big
job.
yourself. What does that mean?
what does that mean?
Wes, listen, she's had a lot of interns. Mm-hmm. You are one that comes back to her memory all the time.
Oh no. I don't even remember what I did.
Can I call her? Can we call her and figure out?
Okay, we can't put her on the spot, especially with me here.
No.
Oh my gosh. I'm terrified what that means.
But
Wes was tough.
So was there a plan for you to go into?
I know. Were you going into
field?
politics?
That was like we did an internship for high school government class, so it wasn't like a very long stint.
To be fair,
I
you
remember
continued, though.
going through brochures in her office. Whichever
lot
had the
of
most
stuff in
modern
her
haircut,
office.
I kept. I went with the image more than anything.
She had a lot of stuff in her office.
Yeah.
Wait,
I
but
did a lot
you
of stuff.
went to American for poli-sci.
Yeah.
It's not like you ended in high school.
Yeah,
You went to college for poli-sci.
No, she didn't scare me away from poli-sci.
Almost ran for mayor.
Even though
Is that
I have
public?
never found American University pennant at the
not.
Savoy. Just
No,
putting that
there's
out there.
definitely
There's
one
definitely. I've checked.
think
Have
I've
you
tried
seen it?
flag.
I don't think
tried-
I've seen it.
I've tried cracking that code
I
many
haven't
times
seen it,
going
but
into
I'm
the
sure it's
Savoy.
there.
I don't know.
I almost positive.
Where's
it's
Lori?
there.
Get the keys. Let's go check it
Christmas Eve, I'll go look for it.
out. All right. Can I get a photo?
Can we
If you
do?
find it?
can
I
we
don't
do-
think it's there.
Can we do one more cocktail session at the bar somehow? Just in there, just take it in.
What's the future
What
of that
is the
place?
future
Any
of the
idea?
Savoy?
Listen,
I mean,
it's
who
for
knows?
sale.
Yeah.
Nick's getting in the food and beverage and buying it.
That's right. Are you going to bring back the garlic bread? That's the main question everyone wants to know.
I'm not opening the Savoy.
So,
But you can bring
so
the
it's a
garlic
definite no?
bread.
We need a tease. We need a
Yeah.
tease for the video here.
That garlic bread was
Savoy garlic bread making a comeback in Rome, New York. That was pretty good.
so good.
It was good.
I would eat a whole loaf.
What was that? Homemade garlic butter that was.
Yeah.
And
It
was
was
there
a-
a
it
secret
was a
recipe that?
recipe.
Okay.
The
Yeah,
bread was
yeah.
furloughs.
I mean, had to.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna. Just,
I'm not going to
no,
tell you how to make it.
You'll tell me though after.
I will not.
But back to 257, 100 years ago, 20 years ago, and I was doing that, like running that place for a year and a half was the longest 18 months I think I had. But so I was doing the golf course and that place. Keeping help, and everyone we had was had lots of challenges. We'll put it that way.
That's a nice way to
The
put
food and
it.
beverage industry
There was
is
a lot
full
of challenges.
Full of challenges. Everyone's got a lot of
Baggage.
yeah.
Baggage
yeah.
is a good word.
Baggage. I don't want to get too deep into this,
baggage.
but
It's
baggage.
you know what I'm talking about.
Baggage is a good word.
But you can find your way through that.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's easy.
So is it going back to like running food and beverage? Is it just the help, or is it? I mean, the margins seem all over the place. Yeah. Is it just the combination? Let's back it up. Why is it just that experience is why you want to run from food and beverage so much? Because everything that comes up, you're like, no, we'll find a tenant, we'll lease it out. We're not doing food and beverage.
Own the building, lease it out to somebody else
Yeah.
to go through the fight. It's just such a labor intensive business that it's tough.
The fixed costs aren't very. The fixed costs aren't really your issue. It's all the variables. Like chicken goes up this week. Okay, well now I'm making less money on this sandwich.
Yeah, and you can't keep adjusting your menu every 4
so
days.
you have to.
Well, and I guess there's got to be. You can only predict so much. There's got to be some waste in there. You got to factor. You got to, yeah.
You can't put market price on everything like gas stations.
Chicken tenders, market price. It's not a good look. It's not a good look.
People are probably going to question that.
Yeah, right.
That's really fun. Well, so question, I guess, with everything going electronic menus, is that going to be less of an issue? Or did I just open
That's
up
what I
something
was
there?
thinking too. Yeah.
So
Did I crack the code?
You just solved it.
But then it's like fast foodie if you have like
people aren't
rotating menus on
gonna
TVs.
Seeing a different price for their go-to
seeing
every
a
day.
different price
Yeah,
to go to.
yeah, it makes sense.
Like every now and then, if you have to up something,
Sure.
like you have to up it. Like
Commit to it. Just do it.
We use high quality things. Like
Yeah.
our prime rib is actually prime rib that we make
Yeah.
1 a day, 2 a day sometimes, and we go through it, and it's an actual prime rib that we're letting cool, putting it in the cooler, and then slicing it on our slicer.
Yeah.
That's an act so people kind of questioned it at first because it was expensive, because ribeye was expensive.
I think that's a huge sell though now. I mean, I don't know how you convey that on the menu, but in telling your story, but people, I mean, the farm to plate, massive, right? People want to know where their stuff's coming from these days. I think that's a huge sell. I think, I don't know how you pitch that or promote that, but I you go to these bigger cities, like, oh yeah, farm to plate, and Taylor Cook does that. They commit to that kind of, everything's local.
Oh, they committed.
Yeah.
Oh, they committed.
Did you see
Is there more to that?
their new place?
I mean, I
saw
had
the
a
ribbon
double.
cutting,
I
but I
couldn't.
haven't been there.
Would we have that?
It
There's-
looks amazing.
Copper City after hours.
Oh yeah, we had
right?
Copper City that night.
same
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
Their whole, like the new restaurant they built, gorgeous. I've only seen pictures, but it
I
looks,
heard it was pretty cool. Morgan, you went. I don't have a mic for you.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Stunning.
but it's a lot bigger than it used to be.
Which I was gonna go there. I feel like people are attractive to small venues though. I feel like there's something, because when I was talking,
Intimate.
Something
feel.
cozy, quaint.
yeah, and when I talked to a couple, when I was more into the distillery kick and brewery kick, like the more I talked to them, every time I went to one, they're like, yeah, it's a small environment. Like I wouldn't want to expand this. Like maybe outdoor space, fine, but like there's something about the cozy, small feel of a brewery that people enjoy. And I didn't really think about that. Like even if you have the volume, who cares? You want to make it feel cozy, I guess. And I forgot where I was going.
We're in the
Feels
hell.
like a spot for Red
Brady's
Bull.
another one.
But here's my rebuttal,
Sure.
because listen, I love going to restaurants. I love walking in and knowing the people that work there and own it. But Nostro, Ocean Blue, and now Taylor and the Cook are massive restaurants.
No, 100%. I'm just going off like because I was really interested.
Nostro's got that bank cool feel, which
Yeah.
it has to be. Like that's
No,
what
it's-
it is. But yeah, another one seems a bit. Well, who knows? Are we going to go for the final one?
Yeah,
have to go
let's.
for the
We have
final.
to go. This is. I've been. Yeah. Let's. Everybody good?
Yeah.
And we're back.
And we're back. I like that's great. Let's keep that.
You should definitely keep that.
Harry Carey. And we're back. Anyway, we're here with the weather. All right. This is this is one of your favorites. Hardest to get.
Brent's
Right.
mumbling. It's getting late here.
It's hardest to get because I only get it maybe twice a year.
On the ordering side because of the volume.
Not because of the volume, just because they only release it like twice a year.
Oh.
And I surprisingly, when I first got it, my liquor rep was like, I can get you 6 bottles. And that never happens. It's always like, I can get you 1 bottle. But she's like, I can get you 6 of this. And I'm like, she's like, do you want it tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, because someone's going to figure out that they made a mistake and I'm not going to get it. So send it as soon as possible.
Wow.
And I got it. And now every time it comes out, I get 6 bottles. And it's been like, it's still one of my favorites.
So when either of you can figure, once you get in the rotation of buying, does it like move you? How does that? This whole thing with the
That
liquor
part
in New
doesn't
York
make
is
sense.
just absurd.
That part. So sometimes you get it, sometimes you
Delicious, by
don't.
the way.
And it's just, they say that there's some strict thing on how you stack up on the list. And they say they put some aside for new accounts. They say that sometimes, like, it's different between on-premise and off-premise. Off-premise being liquor stores, on-premise being restaurants and bars. They say that there's like a split there, but you really just have to trust that they're actually doing it the way they say they're doing it, and I don't.
It's all magic. I mean, I didn't really know any of this, and again, not in the food and beverage, but until
I don't chase any of those crazy bourbons, so it's just like, here, we need 6 cases of Jack Fire. You know, it's nothing too crazy for me.
To be fair, you've upped your game a little bit with that Bullet on there.
I put Bullet on there. You know, Brad was on my butt.
I mean,
we get
Bullet was really hard to get for the first year that we were open. It was
there was a shortage when COVID hit. I don't know why, because we don't even know why, but actually, I think I knew that. I did know that answer.
they couldn't get the bottles.
That's what it was. Yes.
Yeah.
The wine industry had the same problem.
The wine industry, it was the bottles.
We had bottle problems at Thirsty Owl.
So this
Like
is a
what you could get for
cutthroat
glass.
industry.
I mean,
They all are.
I feel sophisticated drinking this one. It's got a little.
What do you think?
have you gotten to the point where you like bourbon now?
Yeah, third drink.
So I say it takes like 15 times for you to like bourbon.
Ooh, he put a number on it.
To really
Yeah.
like it.
Well, that is true. How many times when you look back at college and you had let's be real. When you're in high school and you started drinking beer, you're not like, oh my god, that's
It's so
amazing.
good.
like no, like come on,
no one likes it.
No one likes
No
beer
way.
your first time,
Never.
and you're lying if you say you did. But so I really do think, and that happened with wine too for me. Wasn't a wine guy. My roommates in college were big wine people, so I started drinking it more, and I kind of learned, oh, okay, I like this over this. I wasn't a big white wine drinker. Then I met Wes, had a dry Riesling at his place, and I was like, oh wow, maybe I do like. You start realizing that there's this huge spectrum of every single category, and bourbon was that late bloomer. I actually somehow went to Scotch.
I started with Scotch.
Yeah, and then
I was and the reason I started drinking Scotch was because I watched Boston Legal, and at the end of every Boston Legal episode, I forget their names, but they'd sit on their balcony and they'd drink Scotch, and I thought it was like the coolest thing. And I'm like, I want to drink Scotch. So I started drinking like Johnny Walker Red Label, and I'd start with like this much Johnny Walker and like this much water. And I'd slowly decrease the amount of water and increase the amount of Scotch, and then I could start drinking it.
And then you come to bourbon, you're like, oh.
And then I came to bourbon, I'm like, oh, well, this
Should've
is
done
so
that
much
first.
better.
This is what it's supposed to do.
This is so much better.
I do feel like this. I mean, there are occasional Scotch, and you bring up water because it's finding that right balance of water and Scotch and how it works. But the bourbon, you could just kind of drink out of the bottle. Scotch, you need to like, it takes a little.
Yeah, it's a little smoky,
It's a little extra on there.
but
I was gonna say the same
bourbon.
thing.
Yeah.
Bourbon. See,
Oaky.
I personally like bourbon. I like all my drinks cold. It's like my personal thing. I know people like to drink things neat. I adjust the amount of ice I put on based on what I'm drinking. So if I'm drinking like Weller 12, I'm not going to fill the glass with ice but I'll have like 1 or 2 ice cubes. I think the water really like opens it up a little bit, but that's just my opinion.
I like pina coladas, something like that.
I know.
Those are delicious too. I mean,
they all have their play. Listen,
if I'm on a beach,
yeah, I'm not going to a bourbon
Not going to a
or
bourbon.
Scotch. That is not happening. Bacardi and Diet might even see an appearance.
I got one last question. You can cut this, of course.
I'd love it. How many times do
I
we say
have a
that?
restaurant pitch for you.
Uh-oh. This is bigger than a sandwich pitch.
It has nothing to do with location, which is probably your number one concern, but
definitely my number.
they even have
one
a
concern.
title of this restaurant. It's going to be called World. Each quarter, you change cuisines.
Sounds
You'll
good, but
you'll go
challenging.
Korean for the first quarter.
Korean he leads with.
Your top seller is your special the next quarter, so you can keep those on. But then you go to Italian, then you'll go to whatever. You just hit everything, and you keep changing. But that way, you get people coming back at least 4 times a year to try what's going on each time, and it keeps your interest up in the kitchen. Small menu, 6, 7 entrees. It's just a one pager.
He
Fancy.
piqued his interest
maybe.
on small menu.
You picked my interest on small menu.
Yeah, we don't want like 1,000. Oh no, we don't want Cheesecake Factory menu. Oh my god, that's the worst.
You need a PhD to get
But
through that thing.
what do you think about that? Is that weird? Have you heard of that?
So, there's a restaurant in Chicago. What's his name? Grant. I can never say his last name. He owns Alinea. Alinea is like the #1 restaurant in the country. He has a restaurant called like Seasons or something. And every season they change the menu.
Okay.
So
he kind of stole my idea.
He
but
did kind of steal your idea, but did it
Even
first.
though he's doing it.
but
You should ask for a piece of it.
but
Unbelievable.
I
These people.
love listen, I have like ADD. I need to do different things constantly or else I get bored.
Know the feeling.
Because you're locked in a negotiator for the next
Forever.
rest of your life.
Forever. The
Which is a bad thing, but
the negotiator will be like if Crust closed tomorrow, the negotiator will be the only thing that gets remembered. Like there was this
And the
sandwich.
bourbon, maybe?
Wow.
No, the
No.
negotiator.
Can you make Korean? Can you cook Korean?
We're actually doing a Korean sandwich very soon.
Oh, breaking news.
I know.
As if we.
So
Wow.
Jen, my wife, has a kid in her class named Bodhi. He's Korean. He was adopted, came to the country.
Does he know he's adopted? Can we release that?
I don't know. You might want to cut that. I'm sure he knows because he knows he's Korean and his parents aren't.
just saying.
I mean, if we're getting technical.
I mean, a
But-
lot of people view this podcast, so I don't want him to find out that way.
So
I'm sure he's watching it today.
So he's in Jen's class, and he told Jen that I should do a Korean barbecue sandwich, and I should name it One Night in Seoul because he was playing, or Late Night in Seoul because he was playing off the 4 a.m. in Buffalo, and he wants it to be like a beef bulgogi.
How old is this kid? He's like,
I don't
I'm
even
gonna
know what
play-
that
He's
is.
in 5th grade.
5th grade. Wow.
I was way off. Oh yeah, just based off your 4 a.m. Wow.
A late night in Korea or in Seoul.
I'm in one.
So that's in the works.
Well, so when's
So
the launch?
that's in the works.
When's
Listen, we got a lot of things before that, but it's
How far out are you scheduled for
testing
new
phase.
sandwiches?
how I'm scheduled like 3-4 weeks out.
Oh, that's not bad.
Too bad.
Yeah.
I have things lined up, but
So I think Chris liked my idea.
I do like
I
your
think he did.
idea.
You order just for that quarter. That's what you're going to get. I mean, not at the same time, but you can plan it out, switch it over to the next one, but keep your couple favorites as your specials for the next quarter. So you don't completely abandon it, but
I love your
you got
idea.
something. Oh, jeez.
I have no idea how this editing is going to be the most wild thing. Hey, remember when I said don't say that?
Yeah, I don't envy your next few days here, Bradley.
wait.
Sorry,
well,
bud.
Well, anyway, and I think I've told you guys all individually.
Wait, whoa.
I like it.
Overtime?
I mean,
Wes, I mean, to be
At least
fair,
that makes it. That little 10-second clip makes it.
that will make it.
Yeah.
absolutely.
The overtime for.
It's just
He
fun.
went sneak attack, too.
It's just fun to see Wesley drinking from that side because usually he's the one like, oh come on, one more, and then like 2.5 hours
true?
later,
You're having a hard
you
time.
know-
My
you
bad
know how-
influence. I'm getting cut up here.
you know how hard it is to leave a bar with you.
Yeah,
It's really
tough.
fucking hard. It's really hard.
That's my patrilineal side.
So I know to text anybody that I'm leaving, like I need to give them at least an hour and a half heads up. If we're ready to leave, like no. If we're leaving at 3, no. It's like a 1:30 text. It was
He's a social butterfly.
I should probably go soon. But to be fair, great hang, good time, whatever. Anyway, so what I was getting to,
Shitty intern.
She didn't say shitty. She said tough.
Tough.
Oh my god.
the only last talking point I wanted Nick to talk about the
I got one question for Chris too.
Okay. We're gonna keep going. We're
Then I gotta go.
We're not.
I got hockey.
feel like I'm on the
Teddy
the hot
has
seat.
Mike's tryouts at 4:45. My butt better be there
All
at
right, it'll be
4:30
fine.
to dress him.
All right. Question for Nick. You've been working on growing a YPO. Or what are you defining as it? Sorry, I don't want to.
Yes. So we have the name RIPE,
Okay.
Rome Young Professionals Exchange, right?
Yeah.
That took
Nailed
some.
it.
That's great.
That took
Well
some
said.
ear twisting. We had a few members that wanted our logo to be a tomato.
That
Chris.
was me.
I did
Ripe
that.
for the picking.
Yeah.
I used my one veto to veto that. But yeah,
What is the logo?
it's just like the letters, basically.
I'm
Should we
going
go with the
tomato.
tomato? We can still change
We
it.
should
but
went with the
slightly
tomato.
green. It's like, it's
like
almost
that.
there. It's like
I like
almost
that.
there,
Almost
maybe.
there.
Just- you hate that?
From a marketing standpoint.
From marketing,
no.
So the tomato
That's
is
why I don't do marketing.
I got in trouble again.
So the tomato is a play.
I like the tomato.
Tomatoes a play.
Oh wow! All right, maybe we'll go back to tomato.
All right, Nick. Back to
So
what?
we wanted to start it because it's actually one of the things that I think has been tried a few times. But what happens is there's not really a succession of when whoever the founding group is that starts it, they kind of move on and it doesn't kind of continue on. So with any of these active young professionals organizations, that's the biggest thing is how do we continue it on? And I think that the goal is that Rome is up and coming. There's a lot going on here and it can be very intimidating and awkward for young professionals who are new to the area or just
They don't have a hangout spot.
that's right. If they had a hangout spot, it's a
Besides
challenge for
Crust,
some
but
of
it's
our
full.
events.
Full bar.
We already go there like every other time. So
We do not.
just
We could.
just introducing
I'd
them.
be
record.
okay with that.
Yeah.
For the record.
Just introducing them, getting to know people. So when we go to normal chamber events, normal networking things, they have a built-in group. Because I don't know if anyone else has done this, but I lived in Albany for a little bit. Ithaca. You go to a networking event in a city you're not from, and it can be very awkward
Yeah.
and daunting, and,
Intimidating.
trying
Yeah.
to meet people. So I think that's the idea. Hopefully, let them grow and eventually join the chamber board or whatever, be a part of the chamber. So
It's like a farm league for
Yeah.
the chamber.
Yeah, but there's some fun events. Like you did one at Rum Country Club,
Yeah.
a little golf theme.
That was
like there's
fun.
one with maybe in the future with the new pool hall that opened up.
Yeah.
That's fun. You did a headshot one?
we did a happy hour headshot for any
Where
young
they
professionals don't
take
have
your
headshots.
headshot, which is a cool
That's
idea.
great.
That's
No,
very
and-
impressive. Who thought of
and-
that one?
I don't know who thought of that one.
I kind
Ryan.
of like that one.
Oh, Ryan.
who's heading up? So I know you obviously you're
Nick's in charge.
I'm in charge, and next year Chris is in charge.
I'm not in charge.
Would you bring the
next year.
tomato if you're in charge for the logo?
I cannot be in charge next year.
That was part of the
You
deal.
have other things
It was
going on?
not part of the deal. I will be a supporter. I will be there all 100% of the time.
why and actually maybe Morgan you can help me on this one.
Morgan, you want to join Ripe?
What
We have
is-
a
what is-
leadership
how-
positioning
wait,
opening up.
how does serious question, how does the Utica Chamber and Catalyst interact?
So
Do you know this, Nick?
Yeah.
It's like a separate thing.
It's completely separate.
yeah, they actually have their own bylaws. I was actually part of Catalyst for a little bit, but they have their own bylaws and stuff, and they kind of operate. I mean, it's part of the chamber. You have to be a member of the chamber to be a part of Catalyst.
And I wonder if that might be a morphing factor to marriage the two, just because of the communication availabilities of the chamber, the growth of where you're always looking for the next gen of the chamber, which might be you're almost creating a farm league. I think that was the reference of the next of who should take over. You kind of learn about the processes of the chamber and what it's for, and then I think it is good to have two tiers because you have like an intro fun, try to meet people your own age, but then you have like the major leagues kind of thing where you really have to, you're an operator.
and if you're young, you don't know how to operate on a board, right? You don't know.
That's kind of where I'm going. Like, luckily for me, I kind of had a crash course in many of the things, but I think that's a great point. Like you do have these two separate, when you look at the chamber boards, usually they're operators. unless you're like on Edge or like some of these where they send somebody to be like a proxy, I guess. You know, I'm trying to think of some of those. I think that, you know, like AFRL will send somebody, or like I think they, you know, some of the companies will send a couple, but for the most part, when you look in the room, they're either high executives or operators that are part of the board. So like to be thrown in there when you're like kind of whether your own business or like something, you're like, okay.
You're watching the guy next to you, like, do I approve?
So I second.
Nay.
I got thrown on a board and I was like, I really don't know what I'm doing, but I guess I'll figure it out as we go. And
Is there lunch?
And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, sometimes it is just getting thrown
And
into
I think
it.
it is important to start getting a little bit of the younger generation into these boards. So this is kind of a stepping stone into that.
And to show that they're out there. I think I completely agree. And it's fun to talk with a lot of people that deal with, like, we just had a podcast with Mike Haydick, right? Obviously dealing with a lot of people that are coming to Rome for the first time, Utica area for the first time. And they're like, this is great. Like, we have no problem being here. And it's just so frustrating hearing people badmouth like Mohawk Valley.
Yeah.
It is really frustrating. And there's so much going on here if you make it what you want to make it. And I think anything we can do to kind of start turning that a little bit and to understand all the stuff that's happening is, I wish there was the perfect, you know, phrase or marketing or whatever we can do to do that. But I think it really is underestimated. We have a long way to go still, but the trajectory we're on right now is great.
We have a lot of natural resources around us too. You have a lake, you have a beautiful golf course, you have skiing and snowboarding. Like, these are things you don't get.
You're an hour or two from everything.
Yeah,
I mean,
in a lot of
Obviously,
areas.
referencing Rum Country Club not too huge ago.
Yes.
Just want to make that clear.
Obviously.
No, but I think it's fun. I think the YPO is great. I think we need more of that. I think anything we can do as family businesses or even local businesses to promote the area is huge, and it's just great. We need to do a better job as a Sentinel Media. I think there's more stories we can tell, better communication we could do. But we're here. We support it. I think it's awesome. It's good.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Well, I got to thank you for bringing the samples.
Yes.
And Nick, thank you. And Wesley, as usual.
Cheers,
cookie,
boys.
cookie.
wait, Wes had one more question for me.
Oh, yeah.
All right. You're probably going to cut this. This might be a very annoying question.
We're going to start taking a shot every time we say we cut this, but.
What percentage of people come into your place for the first time and think you're a pizza shop because of the name?
Oh, for the first time?
And does it annoy you?
70%.
What'd that lady call you when she came to my office?
Wait. Wait.
Oh,
Calling
so
place called
listen,
Crust. I think pizza first, not crust of a sandwich. So that's on me too.
To be fair, I did not want to call Crust.
Oh, it's coming out.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
The
I
last second scoop.
But that being said,
No.
we couldn't think of a better name.
One of those like, well, what do you want to call it?
That's how we got right.
We couldn't. It's how we got right.
Yeah.
Some lady
Exactly.
came into our office and she's like, I'm looking for, I think she said bread.
Yeah.
I'm looking for bread. I'm like,
Crouton.
are you talking about crouton crust?
So at first,
So this isn't a weird question. Okay.
No, I've gotten this question a lot. We named it Crust and we put it out there, and everyone kept saying like, "Oh, you're gonna make pizza." No,
there's other crusts out there.
Have you thought about it?
no, I haven't.
I would like a nice pizza.
Listen,
like a
there's a
wood fire,
lot.
like-
There's
They
a
make a good
lot of
pizza, I bet.
places in Rome that make pizza, and a lot of them make it pretty good. Go there.
So you don't want to go in that space.
I don't want to go in that space.
Gotcha.
No, that's good.
Looks like we got
That's
a
fair.
pizza shop.
Like, I hated making pizza at the Savoy. Like,
The big and ugly.
flat,
Big and ugly.
big, ugly.
Oh, the big.
Not
just the
He's
big
very
ugly.
upset about that.
So I don't want to make pizza. I enjoy pizza. I get it all the time, but I'm not making it. And yes, people come in all the time and are like, so like, are these slices? I'm like, nope, these are sandwiches.
How did Crust, like, what was the,
That was Frank. Frank came up with it.
God damn it, Frank.
And
like
did you
Frank's
throw
the
so many
genius behind
names
all
back and
this.
forth that you just finally gave in? It's like, all right, Crust is fine. Like both of you.
We
Like, sometimes,
came-
like when you name an album as a band, you're like,
Right,
I give
we
up.
gotta go with something.
We got to come up with something.
Yeah.
We came up with a lot of different names, and like we worked with our ad agency on like the logo and everything, and we were kind of trying to figure out different
Wasn't
names.
us.
It was not.
Wow. A lot of shots being fired.
Wow, this is getting
I
tough.
just feel like I'm on the hot seat.
Do we have another bourbon?
Wait, what did you say it was?
No, no, I already know the answer. We don't need to go.
Yeah. No free advertising. You know what we get
Sorry,
a lot
that was just my
is-
marketing person asking. So we
So,
don't no.
There was a
no
lot of
shots
things,
fired.
like we kept going back and forth, and we just did. There wasn't a name that really worked for us. Like we wanted to have sandwiches on like crusty bread, and it always went back to crust. Even though we
To
knew
call it sandwiches wouldn't have been that
it
exciting.
would have been weird.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
agree.
boring.
That's
Like
cool.
fancy sandwiches. That would have been.
No,
That's not something.
that's not the play.
Yeah.
That's
Frank and Chris's sandwiches, inspired by your name?
Well,
Like,
next time
that
you need to
cool.
come up with a name, we just need some bourbon on a table and just sit there and just let a couple hours pass.
We get 2 to 3 people a week who come into our office asking if we're the Sentinel.
Oh, really?
At least 2 to 3 people a week. Like, oh, they're right there.
And do you send them to Crust?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Well, when you deliver to 6,000 people a day, there's a lot of people that want to see us. So
I was surprised how many people want to come into Sentinel. I thought you got your
I know.
paper and you
Were
were
they,
happy.
were they all
but
excited, or were they all there to
They seemed excited.
air grievances?
No, they seemed excited.
we try.
Their
Ready to
paper
physically
didn't get
give
where
you
it was
their,
supposed to be.
their ads.
You're like, you're so close. They're right there.
They're right there. One more.
Well, should we wrap it up, boys?
Yeah. Hey. Oh shoot.
I got a sip left. Oh,
The
Wait.
2 amateurs.
Wait. Can I just get a little bit of a nip there?
Perfect.
Can I get a what is it called?
a Harriet?
Harriet.
That's even
Thank you.
smaller than a Harriet.
That's all right. We'll take it.
It's just a Harry.
Yeah.
To be continued, guys.
Yeah, we
All right,
should do
gents.
this again.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Thanks for having us.
Chris, I'm going for it. Yes.
Thanks, boys.
Cheers.
Good time.